Well, Hoots, it's all over. We're here at Comcast Center here in College Park, Virginia, with the 75-72 victory over Maryland, a win that clinches the Wahoos a number 4 seed in this week's ACC tournament. And Hoots, let's be frank here. This is a win Virginia really had to get.
Oh, there's no question about it. I think that they're going to be in the NCAA tournament regardless, but I think this nailed it for them. And, of course, getting that number 4 seed gives them the first round bye, which means they don't have to play until Friday's quarterfinals. And as low on personnel as these guys are, they need all the rest and recuperation time they can get.
What can you say about Mike Scott? I mean, just when you think, the guy's played as well as he can possibly play, he does this, another just stellar outing, 35 points, 11 rebounds. And I'm just going to say it. I'm going to scream it from the top of my lungs here in the Comcast Center, Hoots. If this guy is an ACC Player of the Year, well, that wasn't really at the top of my lungs, but
that was pretty loud.
I didn't want
people. Got the workers' attention up there.
Did they really? Okay. Well, that's something. But you know what I'm saying. I mean, what else does this guy have to do to? Where would Virginia be without this guy?
They'd be lost. I wrote last year when he got hurt that it could be the best thing that happened to Virginia's basketball program in a long time, because last year's team wasn't going anywhere. This team had NCAA potential, and I think, without Scott, I'm not even sure they'd have a winning season. But I agree. I think he's ACC Player of the Year. I just sent in my vote a little while ago. And, what else does the guy have to do?
It's a travesty, because most of these voters are, as we discussed in the car ride up here, live down in that North Carolina area. I mean, just the pure number of voters down there is going to be why Mike Scott's not going to be the Player of the Year.
Yeah, a couple of guys from down there said they weren't even going to put him on their first team All-ACC, which I think is just unthinkable. But, he scored 35 today. It was the most points scored by any player in the ACC all year. And previous to that, he and Stoglin had the highest number with 33 each. And not that it's all about scoring, but I don't know what else the guy could possibly do. He's done everything humanly possible to make this team win.
I'll say this much. Forget about Virginia not being an NCAA tournament team without Scott. I don't know if they're an NIT team without Mike Scott.
I don't know if they'd have a winning season without Mike Scott. Stop and think about it.
Yeah. and we know North Carolina, with all the talent they have, Zeller's having a great year, but come on now. They'd still be a pretty darn good team without Tyler Zeller.
Oh, absolutely.
Like you wrote in your column the other day, actually. Well, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about Sammy Zaglinski's contributions tonight, because as awesome as Scott was, it was Zaglinski who stepped up, 20 points, and they really needed his 20 points here tonight. He hit some threes in the first half to open up the big lead, and then a couple big shots down in crunch time there. Sammy Z loves this place, so it's Comcast Center. He scored a career-high ACC 25 last year. He goes for 20 this year, and him getting hot, this could be happening at a better time right now.
Absolutely. He ought to try to figure out a way to get an extra year and transfer to Maryland, because he's averaging, about 23 points a game in this place. So, I asked him about that, and his eyes lit up. But, he nailed some nice threes today, and they don't win without it. And it was nice. I'm sure Mike Scott was glad to see somebody take a little pressure off of him and contribute heavily. Harris's shots weren't falling today, and Evans was getting some drives to the basket. But, if Sammy doesn't have a good shooting night, who knows what happens to this Virginia team.
Oh, for sure. And Sammy, one interesting thing I thought he told me was that, I don't know if a lot of people know this, there are two types of basketballs, evidently, or two main types of basketballs that are used. There's a
Right.
Wilson ball and a Nike ball.
Right.
And he supposedly really prefers, although he wouldn't really admit it when I was interviewing him, I think he prefers the Wilson ball, which is what they played with here today at Comcast Center. Maryland uses the Wilson ball. NC State, who he had another pretty good game against back in
Used the Wilson also.
Wilson ball, and I'm told that the NCAA tournament uses the Wilson ball, which is a very good sign if you're a Virginia fan and you want to see Sammy Z keep playing well.
I wonder if he could sneak a couple of those into the ball bag down in Atlanta.
That's the truth. I never thought there'd be such a difference between balls, but, apparently there is there. And as we sign off here, Hoots, and get ready to go back to Charlottesville, get in the car here, any other thoughts before we jump in the car here?
It's going to be interesting to see how they used a little bit of extra time off to see. I don't know that anybody's going to come back, but Harris had a mild concussion, and he's got the cast on his hand, so
Talk about the walking wounded.
Yeah, I mean, these guys need every break they can get. So.
And he was vague, Tony, once again, with Malcolm Brogdon's status. He said that he would let us know when he knows something. He said that they're pursuing avenues, I think is what the quote was.
Yeah, that doesn't sound so good, but...
That sounds like they're thinking about going to some Canadian doctor or someplace in Europe for, stim therapy or whatever.
Yeah, maybe Peyton Manning can recommend somebody.
Yeah, it sounded like an A-Rod kind of thing. But, well, that's about it then, Hoots. We'll definitely talk again before we head down to Atlanta for the ACC tournament. But for Jerry Ratcliffe, I'm Whitey Reed. It's a 75-72 huge Virginia victory here in College Park. We'll talk to you later.
See you later.